Okay, I'm going to show you my process, as amateur as it is, on taking a photo from straight from the camera in RAW format and editing it in Lightroom. So you notice this photo is kind of dark, but I had to do that because if you look here on the back of the fish, it's white. And if I had any higher of an exposure, this would have been completely bleached out and unsavable. So I can lower the exposure here with Lightroom, and you can see that the detail's still there. But if I raise my ISO in the camera body, that detail would have been washed out, and I would never be able to save it. So now in Lightroom, I need to get rid of these shadows, and I need to lighten the overall photo. I need to take some of this oversaturated yellows, oranges out of the photo. The water was crystal clear. The sun was shining through the ripples and creating these prisms on the bottom. I don't really want to lose those, but I don't want to make them look like they're fake either. So just to show you, I'm starting with a raw photo here. Here is the data on the photo. Here's my camera here, 7R3, 81 megabyte raw photo. My shutter speed, my ISO. I was using a 100 millimeter Laoya manual focus lens with a Polaroid filter on it. So you don't see no reflection in the water that way. It just cuts right through that glare, and you can just see right down to what you're shooting in the water. So let's get busy with this photo here. So I always start at the top. Not always. I mean, sometimes I do start down here, but I already kind of know what I want to do here. So I'm going to raise the exposure here. Um, Now, see how I raised that? These are completely bleached out. So now I'm going to go down here to highlights, because these are considered highlights. And I'm going to take the highlights down to where I'm getting that detail in there. Right there's probably about as far as I want to take the highlights here. I mean, I could, and then I can take some of these shadows here and I can lighten those up a little bit. I can also do that with decreasing the black. I don't want to do that too much though. So we'll just take it up to here. It's still pretty bright here, kind of distracting. I can reduce the whites. It's not going to reduce that too much more though. So at this point, I have put some more detail in the shadows here. I've lit up the whole picture without losing the detail in the back of the fish here. And now I think what I want to do, because the color profile on my camera had quite a bit of yellow and orange in it, and this is not what I saw when I was standing above these fish. So to give you what I saw when I was looking at these fish, I'm going to have to lower the temperature. Now the temperature is like how much warmth there is, yellows and blues. So I'm just going to hit this right here. I'm going to put that back. Oh, okay. And then I'm just going to lower the temperature here to about where that looks pretty good right there to me. Now, lowering the temperature put a lot of green in this, and that's, again, not what I saw. So to get rid of the green, I'm going to increase the tint here, and that wiped out that green. But the natural green is still there and accurate in this photograph now. See some of the prisms in the bottom and the gravel here. That's kind of nice, but see how there's a little bit of noise when I zoom in, and it's almost like it's too sharp. And So I'm not going to mess with the vibrance or the saturation. Um, Maybe later. I'm going to go down here to effects. Now, if I increase the texture, that's going to give me more of what I don't want in this photo. See how it just looks like, wow, like really sharp and everything's jagged kind of looking. I want to soften this photo, so I'm going to take this down to 30, which I think looks a little bit. Clarity, um, it's not going to help that too much without looking totally fake. I'm just going to leave that alone. This picture is perfectly clear. Um, the focus is pretty spot on here, and don't need to use any vignetting. There is some noise in it, which the texture did help to decrease some of the noise. But I can come down here to luminance, and I can pump that up. If I've got to pump it up any more than 25, I will generally just go and do the computer denoise right here, which on my computer takes an hour, and I don't want to do that. I think this is just fine. I can live with this right here. So here we go. I haven't increased the saturation or anything of this photo. What I'm seeing here is fairly accurate when I was looking down on these fish. It was really bright sun, so I had to darken my exposure through my camera and my filters, because I knew that I can lighten it in Lightroom when I got it back. So I can show you what we started with. That's the original. And this is what we have pretty much settled on. So a pretty big difference, but this is kind of what I saw through my camera lens when I was looking down at these fish. I don't think I'm going to really need to do anything else on this photo besides give it a haircut. I want to crop this photo. This is the original size here. And let's say I want to throw it in like a 16 by 20 canvas. So I think that would be like a 5 by 4 crop. And I want to take it to where my idea when I'm cropping a photo is you don't want to do it too much because you degrade the quality and the sharpness of the photo. But I kind of look at, the fish are the centerpiece, right? I don't want anything that really takes away from that. If I crop it too much, I'm going to have these fish here like this, but then it's really dark up here and it's just not very balanced. So I want to add some light to the upper portion of the crop. And again, the fish are the focal point. Unfortunately, the rocks kind of take away from that. And that's why some photos are great and some photos aren't. You can't dictate what nature does, but you can spend time. And I could spend all day and wait for these fish to move to an area where there would be a more balanced picture, right? But anyways, that's just photography, and I've got to deal with what I saw the best I can. And sometimes after I crop a photo, I will go and maybe have to lighten the shadows a little more or something. So the fish are the subject here. This darkness here is kind of bugging me, but can I do something with that? I could probably lighten it up a little bit like this. I don't want to add too much haze to it, but I can do that. I can go back up and let's see here. If I decrease the highlights more, then I can raise the exposure slightly. I can play with the shadows a little more. I just don't want it to look too bad. So play with the shadows a little more, and it looks too hazy. So I'm going to go back down here. That's where you're going to go back and forth, and just kind of, oh, I don't want to mess with the texture. Haze, there we go. Right about there. Okay. Now if I do too much, it's going to really make this look totally saturated. I don't want to do that at all. So I do want this to be a little softer. Okay. With the iridescence here on the edge of their fins. It's cool. Anyway, so that's kind of what I'm happy with right there. You know, that's really bright sun shining through these ripples. The bottom's light colored because recent flooding, normally the bottom would be more in line with the color of the rocks here with the algae growing on them. And but anyways, two beautiful pink salmon getting ready to spawn here, and I can live with this photo the way it is right now. That's pretty much what I saw with my own eyes, and that's when I'm editing the photo. That's what I want to do, is give y'all what I saw. And again, we can do the before and after. The original, because I'm using the polarized filter, and I'm dampening my exposure down so I don't bleach out the white in the back of this male here. To after editing, now I have the detail here. It's not bleached out. And I have more accurate representation of the colors that I saw when I was there in person. So I'm happy with that. I'm going to export that to my file and change that to an O. An O. All right. 300 pixels, blah, blah, blah. Little watermark there. See what that looks like. Okay. And there it is. Get that going to my file. And that concludes this video. I mean, other than me thanking y'all for your support. And I really enjoy doing what I do. And I really enjoy seeing that you enjoy what I do as well. So y'all have a good morning, afternoon, midday, wherever you're at. And maybe I'll do another one of these long-winded videos. Or not. We'll see. Thank you and goodbye.